Okay, picture this. It's July 2025, and a telescope down in Chile spots something moving across the night sky that, well, according to the standard rules of our cosmic neighborhood, literally shouldn't exist. It wasn't an asteroid, and it definitely wasn't a normal comet born in our solar system. We're talking about a piece of another star system entirely, just casually falling right through ours. Now, they gave it a name that honestly sounds a bit like a barcode, 3I/8LAS, but make no mistake, this thing is a direct messenger from the deep unknown. So let's dive into this explainer and unpack exactly where it came from, what it's made of, and why scientists are calling its unique chemistry a literal fingerprint from another world.
To really wrap our heads around 3I/Atlas, we kind of have to grasp the sheer, awe-inspiring scale of its journey. I mean, this silent courier isn't just far from home, it's ancient, in a way that's genuinely hard for the human brain to process. It's been drifting out there in the empty dark for longer than human language or even fire have existed. It was speeding through the absolute blackness of interstellar space, way before our species was anything at all.
And its path? Well, that perfectly illustrates why it absolutely does not belong to our solar family. Think about every comet you've probably ever heard of, like Halley or Hale-Bopp. They were born here. They orbit the sun in these big, predictable loops. But 3I/Atlas? It arrived on what physicists call a hyperbolic trajectory. That means its path isn't a loop at all. It's just a direct, violent line cutting straight through our neighborhood. It's not orbiting our sun, it's merely passing through, kind of like a stranger walking through a town they are never ever going to see again.
Now, to truly grasp how staggering this discovery is, you really have to realize how incredibly rare these encounters are. Listen to this. In the entire multi-millennia history of human astronomy, we have only ever confirmed 3 messengers from outside our solar system. First, we had that bizarrely shaped one, Oumuamua, back in 2017. Then, Comet Borisov in 2019. And now, 3I/Atlas. That's it. Just 3 confirmed visitors in all of human history. When you actually plot that journey against our own history, the scale makes you feel, well, incredibly small. Because of its trajectory and speed, scientists estimate this thing could have been traveling for hundreds of millions, possibly even billions of years. Think about that. While the dinosaurs were walking the Earth, this object was just falling through the dark. When the very first humans lit a fire 300,000 years ago, it was still falling. Our entire planetary drama played out while this lone icy rock was silently crossing the vast nothingness between stars. But here's where it gets really exciting. As 3I/Atlas finally approached our sun in 2025, the heat started to cook its frozen surface. All that ancient ice boiled into gas, forming this glowing cloud, a coma, right around it. To figure out what the heck it was actually made of, astronomers turned to the massive radio dishes of the ALMA Observatory, which is way up high in the Chilean desert. They pointed these massive arrays directly at the comet, quite literally listening to the chemical whispers of the gas that was exploding off its surface. So the absolutely crucial point here is summed up perfectly by astronomer Nathan Roth. He said observing this is like taking a fingerprint from another solar system. The gas escaping this comet isn't just random space dust, right? Because this object formed in a completely different star system, the gas it releases is a perfect, preserved sample of that distant, unknown planetary system where it was originally born. We are essentially reading the chemical DNA of an alien solar system.
And when that data came back, wow, it completely stunned the scientific community. They were looking at 2 specific molecules, hydrogen cyanide, which is super common in our local comets, and methanol, which is a simple alcohol. The ratio they found was just staggering, a 70-to-1 ratio of methanol to hydrogen cyanide. And actually, in some of the measurements, it spiked up to 120-to-1. To put that into plain English, chemically speaking, this comet is absolutely soaked in alcohol. It's carrying this cosmic cocktail that is far beyond anything typical in our own system.
But wait, the surprises didn't actually end there. For the very first time with any interstellar object, researchers were able to trace exactly where this outgassing was coming from, and they found 2 distinct sources. The methanol wasn't just escaping from the solid core, it was also shedding from tiny microscopic icy grains that were floating in the coma around it. It was almost like observing a mini solar system of tiny comets shedding their own gas. We were literally decoding a sentence in a chemical language we had never read before.
Right when scientists thought, okay, we've got a handle on 3I/Atlas, NASA's James Webb Space Telescope turned its incredibly powerful infrared eye toward the comet in December 2025, and Webb's deep gaze, it added a massive twist to the story that nobody saw coming.
Webb made the first ever direct detection of methane gas on a confirmed interstellar visitor. But here's the really haunting part. When the comet first arrived, the methane wasn't there. We didn't see it. It only appeared as the comet was leaving, which means the methane was buried deep beneath thick layers of surface ice. It was locked away entirely, only exposing itself once the sun's heat had finally boiled away that outer shell.
If we put the recipe of comets born in our own solar system right next to 3I/Atlas, the differences are night and day. Our local cosmic kitchen produces comets with standard, expected levels of these chemicals. But 3I/Atlas? It's this bizarre outlier. It's alcohol-soaked, rich in buried methane, and packed with unusually high amounts of carbon dioxide ice. This basically proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that its birthplace was either much colder, much younger, or just chemically radically different from our own.
Now, you might be wondering, why does all this specific chemistry actually matter so much? Well, because comets are essentially the universe's unopened time capsules. When a star system forms, you get all this leftover gas and dust that never quite makes it into becoming a planet, and it gets frozen at the icy edges of the system. Because they never got cooked or crushed into planets, they perfectly preserve the exact original ingredients of a solar system from billions of years ago.
But here is the massive catch. 3I/Atlas is not our time capsule. It is somebody else's. We are directly measuring the fundamental building blocks of a world we will never, ever visit, orbiting a star we cannot even identify. It is such a humbling realization, you know? Our solar system's recipe, the very ingredients that eventually made Earth and us, might not actually be the universal standard at all.
And the crazy thing is, despite our absolutely most powerful instruments, 3I/Atlas keeps its deepest secrets perfectly hidden. We're still left with these massive mysteries, like which star did it actually come from? If we trace its path back, we just get a cone of thousands of candidate stars, with literally no way to narrow it down. Exactly how many years was it drifting in the dark? And perhaps most importantly, is this alcohol-soaked chemistry normal out there in the rest of the galaxy? Or did we just happen to catch the weirdest outlier drifting past our front door? We simply don't have enough data to know what normal looks like yet.
And we're basically out of time to ask it any more questions. Right now, 3I/Atlas is speeding away from us, out past the orbit of Jupiter, at a staggering 57 kilometers per second. It is not slowing down. It is not returning. It is a silent courier with no return address, sinking right back into the deep space black. We were given just one brief, fleeting encounter to read a story that started writing itself long before humans even existed.
So, to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with kind of a profound thought. If a tiny fragment of ice can carry the chemical fingerprint of an entire alien planetary system across the unimaginable emptiness between stars, what else is out there right now? What else is already falling toward us, silently crossing the void that we simply just haven't seen yet? The universe is incredibly vast, and honestly, the next interstellar visitor could already be on its way. Keep looking up, and thanks so much for exploring this with me.